Thank you. Bueno, y un obsequio, ahora se lo damos a Paul atrás, pero para que festeje que se juntaron. Gracias. Pues bueno, gracias, Bruno. Pues ahora quiero invitar a Jorge de Garay, uno de los promotores de PRORP en Baja California. No nada más es miembro de PRORP en México, sino también es miembro de la PRSA en Estados Unidos y va a tener una charla interesante con Michelle Egan. No sé si nos quieres platicar un poco más, Jorge, en lo que conectamos. Sí, sí.
Muchísimas gracias. Buenas tardes. Me voy a permitir presentar a Michelle Egan, ¿no?
Deme un segundito. Antes de que presentes a Michelle, yo te quiero presentar a ti, que sepan quién eres y quién nos va a presentar a nuestra siguiente conferencista. Jorge de Garay es vicepresidente de PRORP, es presidente de Garay MXOS Public Relations, administrador de empresas y mercadólogo de formación. Cuenta con 4 décadas de experiencia en el campo de las relaciones públicas. Vicepresidente de PRORP y actualmente es el primer mexicano miembro del Board of Directors de Public Relations Society of America, PRSA, con sede en Nueva York. Es también miembro del Consejo Regional para Norteamérica de Global Alliance para las Relaciones Públicas y Comunicación. Y, por favor, Jorge, platícanos un poco del premio que te acaban de otorgar, porque es muy importante.
Muchísimas gracias. Bueno, yo radico en Baja California, mis oficinas están en San Diego y Tijuana, y el Club de Prensa de San Diego, que es uno de los 3 principales en los Estados Unidos, me acaba de otorgar el premio a la trayectoria por cuidar la ética y el profesionalismo en las relaciones públicas, y me lo entregan el próximo día 25, así que gracias. No esperaba yo este comercial, pero bueno, muchas gracias. Quisiera yo presentar a Michelle Egan, que supongo que ya está en pantalla por ahí. ¿No? Bueno, Michelle Egan es APR, Fellow PRSA, Chair Elect. Ella es la Chair Electa para 2023 de la Public Relations Society of America. Es directora de comunicaciones con amplia experiencia liderando la comunicación organizacional para organismos del sector privado sin fines de lucro y gubernamental. Experta en gestión de reputación, comunicación de crisis, liderazgo de cambio, oratoria, relaciones con los medios, relaciones con la comunidad y filantropía, comunicaciones corporativas y relaciones públicas. Es experta profesional de los medios y la comunicación con una maestría de artes, enfocada en comunicación estratégica y liderazgo de la Universidad de Seton Hall, mentora activa, miembro de la Junta de Relaciones Públicas de América desde el 2018 es activa, tuve la fortuna de participar con ella en el Comité de Tesorería y Finanzas y en el Consejo. Y Michelle, yo quisiera agregar algo más aquí, es directora de comunicaciones de Alyeska Pipeline Company en Alaska. Ella está acompañándonos desde Anchorage, Alaska. Dirige las comunicaciones internas y externas de la empresa encargada de operar el sistema de oleoductos Trans-Alaska. Reportando al presidente de la empresa, es responsable de todos los aspectos de las relaciones formales con las partes interesadas en la empresa, los medios y el gobierno, la comunicación de crisis y la filantropía. Ella asesora al equipo ejecutivo sobre temas de comunicación estratégica, desarrolla la estrategia de comunicaciones aprobada por la Junta y supervisa un presupuesto nada más de $3 millones, supervisa a un personal galardonado, así como a contratistas de consultoría y relaciones gubernamentales, y se desempeña como miembro del equipo de gestión de crisis durante incidentes críticos. Welcome, Michelle.
For giving us the time. PRSA has had the opportunity to participate here with you for several years. And last year, my colleague, Michelle Olson, who is on the right, met with you, and she talked about our Voices for Everyone program. And I'll give you an update on that today. But our connection is with the distinguished gentleman on the left in the photo. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting next to you, Jorge, as we go through this today. Jorge is an incredible business leader in Mexico and in the US. He's instrumental in forming your organization. We served on the PRSA board together. He's currently the co-chair of our Global Affairs Task Force. He's one of just 9 members of the North American Regional Council of the Global Alliance for PR and Communications, of which both of our organizations are members. He's the recipient of many awards, but most recently, I just have to say this, Jorge, from the San Diego Press Club, the Andy Mace Award for Outstanding Contribution in Public Relations. And that award is, and I'm reading this from their website, that award is for those who exemplify the highest ethical standards of fairness and integrity and has effectively disseminated the truth on behalf of their clients and the general public. And I'm so grateful for your support, your mentorship, and your friendship, Jorge. Thank you. I could sit in here and listen to Paul all day long, and I think you're going to find many of the things that I say will be aligned with what Paul shared just now. I apologize in advance for not being able to speak with you in Spanish today. I do not think my high school Spanish would get it right. And I know that's a very American thing to think that one could go through life with only one language, and that is a very poor idea. I want to talk today about how we're all connected and how that helps us do our work for our clients and for society. I was reviewing your code of ethics, and in the English translation, your code of ethics refers to the professionals as relationship workers and the importance of communicators having a deep respect for the receiver. And these concepts really stood out to me. We as professional communicators, we are the connectors, we are the relationship builders, we are the trust builders. And today, we, myself and all of you, are connected across nearly 8,000 kilometers, a very, very long car ride. I live in Anchorage, Alaska, where the snow came down yesterday. And if there's one thing we learned from the pandemic and from remote communications, it's that we can connect no matter where the geographic boundaries are. So just a little bit about PRSA. Today I'm here representing PRSA, and we're celebrating 75 years of connecting public relations professionals. We do that in more than 100 chapters and 14 professional interest sections. I know there are students here today from your university program. Welcome. We also have a student organization called PRSA, and it is in 375 universities across the world. We recognize that the future of our profession really is in their hands. So combined between our professional membership and our student membership, we have 25,000 members. I want to tell you a little bit about my workplace so you'll understand my perspective. And I think Jorge shared some of this. I am the Chief Communications Officer at Alaska Pipeline Service Company. We operate and maintain the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System, which is an 800-mile pipeline from the North Slope of Alaska to Valdez. We also operate the marine terminal and protect the waters of Prince William Sound, and that is where the Exxon Valdez oil spill happened more than 30 years ago. So it is our job to make sure that it never happens again. I understand the challenges and the joys of being a professional communicator, and I live them every day. The last few years have been extremely challenging for all of us, but these challenges have put communicators at the center of our organizations, and I think you just heard that from Paul as well. So just to give you a little sense that all of the topics that you are talking about today and have talked about at your conference are things that have been absolutely on my mind. I experienced the same chaos that you did in 2020, back then when my counsel and my team's counsel, strategic counsel, were needed in our organization more than ever before. And here are just a few things that happened during that year, actually just during the first half of that year. In the middle of January 2020, we welcomed a brand new company president. He was only there a couple of weeks when we stood up a crisis management team to plan for COVID. So that was in February. In March, we sent everybody home for remote work. Then in April, we had an oil spill, which is a very big and unusual deal for us. And we had to respond in person and remotely, something that we had never practiced or done. Around that time, the price of oil dropped below $0, adding pressure to us and to our owners. And my company is owned by ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and Harvest Pipelines. So like you, we were worried about keeping our workers healthy, especially those in our remote camps. If they got sick, it could spread quickly and their health could deteriorate fast. And it could also shut down our operation. We had a difference of opinion in our management about how to manage the virus, how aggressive we should be. And we had a new leader that could not go out to visit employees. We had social and racial unrest. It was a lot over a very short period of time. And our company would not have gotten through it without strong strategic communications. And I know that's the truth for you as well. These topics are some of the things I'm wondering about, and they're certainly the things that you addressed today. So this is not just me saying this. You heard a little bit of that from Paul. All PR professionals are experiencing the same thing. In a 2021 report from the Institute of Public Relations and PR News, 81% of communicators said their responsibilities grew or increased in the past 2 years, and they expect that to continue. But guess what? Communicators do not expect extra resources to meet this demand. So people are not expecting that their companies are going to give them additional dollars or additional headcount. That means that we as communicators need to be smarter and more strategic about how we handle our work. So we're at a really important moment, and it's an exciting moment. Our values being recognized in our organizations and outside of them. One of my vice presidents started to refer to me as the invisible hand, meaning that if he saw that if he really wanted to impact something, he needed to get it to me so that we could be strategic about the work, so that we could work the relationships, which is what all of you do. In 2021, PR News named Sally Sussman #1 on its PR Power list. And Sally is the Executive Vice President and Chief Corporate Affairs Officer at Pfizer, the company that led the race for a COVID vaccine. I listened to a PR podcast with Sally, and on it, she said, basically, for so long, we've been vying for a seat at the table. We want a seat at the table. And now she feels like she is the table. She's at the center of the table. So all of us are at a very unique position of influence. We're no longer trying to find a seat at the table. It's really our table. And the world really needs us at the center right now because we are trust builders. Again, in your code of ethics, you refer to our professionals as relationship workers, people who build trust. So we are in the relationship building profession. When I was preparing for today, I went to one of my favorite bodies of research, the Edelman Trust Barometer. So thanks to our colleagues at Edelman, I know they're probably in the audience. I've been utilizing and citing this work for several years. It's very important work. So Edelman refers to our current situation globally as a cycle of distrust. And once trusted institutions like media and government are now less trusted than NGOs and business. Imagine, business is the most trusted institution. I would not have said that 10, 15 years ago. They also look at the most trusted roles in society. and I have them in order on the slide. Most trusted scientists, my coworkers, my CEO, national health authorities, people in my local community, and citizens of my country. And I put the ones in blue that are the top in this top 6. 4 of them are people that we automatically have relationships with. We have the ability to influence through communications, our coworkers, our CEOs, the people in our community, and perhaps the citizens in our country in order to rebuild trust. We can really impact trust at a larger scale through the people we know. So here's some good news. Trust in Mexico is way better than it is in the US. Mexico is in blue in this chart. So overall, according to Edelman's index, trust in Mexico is at a 59 on a scale of 100. In the US, it is 43. Not good, less than half. You have the opportunity to really build on this trust in Mexico, and you're in a really special position as a communications professional to be able to do that. If you look closer, you'll see that in both countries, people place the highest trust in their employer. And isn't that a big part of our role? It's influencing companies and businesses and organizations that employ people. So when there is trust from people in their employer, we have a critical and powerful role to play in that messaging. And as Paul said, it's not just talking about our messaging or communication, but it's what we do. We have to communicate about what companies or organizations mean or what their purpose is, unless there's something to back it up. So we're in a space as PR professionals to be able to say, we have got to do this action, as opposed to we have got to say these words. In this area of my employer, in the US, it's the only group that scores above a 50. So the bad news, trust is declining, and the good news, PR professionals are in a special position to grow trust through our relationships. Another very concerning item, and my colleague Michelle spoke about this last year, people are concerned about disinformation. So again, according to Edelman, the same study, 76% worry about false information or fake news being used as a weapon. That number is higher in Mexico. Another study by the Institute for Public Relations shows that 75% of Americans believe disinformation is a threat to democracy. So more than ever, we need to be strategic about how we communicate. And we need to help employees, friends, and society learn what information they can trust and what they can do to stop or slow the spread of disinformation. So how do we have an impact and build trust for ourselves, our companies, our clients, and governments? It starts with our professional ethics. Having a code of ethics is one of the elements that makes our work a profession, and it distinguishes us from those who don't hold the same standards. So I went through your code of ethics, as I mentioned earlier. I went through the Global Alliance Code of Ethics. Again, both organizations are members of the Global Alliance, the International Association of Business Communicators, and PAGE. And we all have very similar codes of ethics. We're all committed to honesty, to transparency, to fairness, to avoiding conflicts of interest, and to loyalty. We all recognize how important these things are to society. So if we are to build trust in our brands, our companies, our clients, we have to hold up those ethics. It makes me very proud to be part of this profession and to know that our role at the center of the table is really essential. These ethics are not just how we build trust, they are the path to results. They are how we will get results for our clients, for our companies, for our organizations. Oops. This quote from the recent PR Week Boston University Bellwether survey says it all. We are connectors and influencers, and we can flex our influence responsibly and with ethics. And that's how real change can happen. So given all of this, our focus at PRSA is on students and professionals who will have this impact for years to come. As incoming chair of PRSA, my priorities are to invest in our student association and modernize it to meet the post-pandemic needs. To also support our chapters everywhere, because that is where people connect and support one another, just as you are doing in the room today. To join with organizations like yours, the Global Alliance, and other influencers so we can advocate for ethical communication practices. We provide a lot of tools to our members, but we also believe in the power of influencing outside of our membership. And one of the ways we do this is through Voices for Everyone. So Voices for Everyone is available to anyone, member or not, of PRSA. And we established this so that we could tackle some really big challenges together. Some of the challenges that Voices for Everyone focuses on include disinformation, diversity and inclusion, civility, and civic engagement. We know we can have an impact when we work across boundaries. And so the whole point of this initiative is to bring us all together and provide resources that support a more effective communication environment. And in working together, we can have a real impact. We can change behaviors, as Paul said. It's not enough about to just get enough likes or enough followers. But we really, our business is about changing behaviors in a way that is positive for our clients and for society. So we can change behaviors in a way that slows disinformation, that brings diverse perspectives together, and that fosters civility. So I want to encourage you to visit Voices for Everyone. Here are just a few things at the bottom of this slide that you can find there. We have a partnership with the News Literacy Project. We have games you can play to learn how to spot disinformation or internet trolls. We have tips on creating civil dialogue. And I'm a big fan of the inclusive language guides that help us with the language of diversity, something we're all challenged with. We also know that when it comes to disinformation in particular, one of the greatest weapons that we have against disinformation is to have people slow down and take a pause before they share content and to understand where their news is coming from. So we have some shareable content. I'm really excited about this content that you can download from the website. It's created by the Swing Agency, and the Swing Agency is a student-run agency out of Hofstra University. So you can download any of these shareables, and we're so happy to be co-creating with our students who teach us new things all the time. So I want to go back to my story about the first half of 2020, when things were coming at me at work so quickly and in so many different dimensions or angles. I know that's happened to you too, and it's still happening. I know that I relied on my network, on my connections, and I got the most current info I could from resources like PRSA or the Institute for Public Relations. And I used that to influence inside my organization so we could have an impact beyond our organization. It's like the comment from Sally Sussman. We're not just at the table now, we're at the center. It is our table, and it is a great time to be in strategic communications. So let's work together and build that trust and have a really big impact. Thank you. And I know that you are about to go celebrate some awards. So I'm happy to take a few questions and then let you go enjoy that.
Thank you, Michelle. ¿Alguna pregunta que tengan para Michelle? Se ve bien de aquí. No, no veo bien. Sí. ¿Le podrían pasar el micrófono, por favor?
Hello, thank you so much for your presentation. So during the day we have seen and also listening about how PR and communication have been evolving. So my question is, which is the next hype that we can also tackle as communicators, and of course, the greatest challenge that we will have in advance to be not only in front of us, but that we will be facing, because many things have been changing, many more will be changing, and we don't even know that.
Yes, I think it was mentioned earlier, this subtopic of polarization and how people in our societies are taking two different views and they're not talking to one another. And I think we have the opportunity as relationship workers to build those relationships and bring people together. We can do that for our brands, we can do that for our companies, and then we can do that for our communities. We know how to do it, and we are the professionals who really can get ahead of that. It's a real challenge. It's combined with that disinformation. So I think that's definitely something we're focused on.
Gracias. Thank you, Michelle. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Okay, Michelle, I wanna give you a proposal. We have public relations students chapters in Latin America, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, and Puerto Rico, but we don't have in Mexico. So next year you will be the chair. I think it will be a good possibility to analyze the possibility to start a chapter for the students and try to build this new generation of communicators with a solid ethical base. Can we think about it?
Yeah. Oh, we don't need to think about it. We can do it. We can absolutely do it. We like I said, we know at PRSA that students and early professionals and mid-career professionals are really the future of our organization, but also of our profession in general. And the ethical component is everything. And we also need to help our students be the best future employees we can. And so I've enjoyed getting to know the students from some of those chapters that you mentioned. And I think that we should be doing the very same in Mexico. We are going to look next year, Jorge, at what does a student association need to be like after a pandemic? So what does the future of a student association look like? It doesn't look like things were when I was at university in the late 1980s, right? So we're going to be looking at modernizing what we do as well.
Perfect. Thank you. ¿Alguna otra pregunta del público? No? Michelle, thank you so much. We understand you have another commitment in Alaska right now with the candidates for governor over there. And thank you for your participation with us here in PRO-RP, and see you later.
Thank you all so much. Come see me in Alaska.
Desde allá, ¿qué está sucediendo por ahí?
Gracias, Rafa. Yo creo que tenemos una gran oportunidad y la hemos desaprovechado. Tenemos 3,000 kilómetros de frontera con los Estados Unidos. Tenemos un movimiento de migración en todo el mundo, pero específicamente México está recibiendo migrantes en todos los estados fronterizos, y también hay muchos migrantes de México hacia los estados fronterizos. en el tema migración y lo estamos desaprovechando. Como decimos los que vivimos en la frontera, en México nos atienden, pero no nos entienden. Y México somos todos, 3,000 kilómetros de frontera. Somos el socio comercial número 2 de los Estados Unidos. O sea, imagínense el potencial. Yo platicaba hace rato con Amanda de Weber Shandwick y le decía yo no comprendo por qué no hacemos más relaciones públicas en la frontera teniendo ese mercadote, ¿no? Digo, yo estoy encantado, sí. Pero la realidad es que es una gran oportunidad de negocios. O sea, tenemos 10 estados fronterizos, tenemos más de 100 millones de habitantes entre esos 10 estados fronterizos. Bueno, uno de ellos es simplemente California y Texas, representan un potencial económico muy interesante y además muy, pues podría llamar que es una tercera cultura, ¿no? ¿Sí? Yo ponía un ejemplo tan claro como decir, si de aquí voy a ir a Polanco a comer, pues son X número de kilómetros, pero es la misma Ciudad de México. Si yo recorro esos mismos kilómetros, a lo mejor estoy comiendo en Estados Unidos y es otro país, ¿no?
Correcto. O
un americano viene y ve a un médico en mi ciudad y es otro país. Y todo eso es una magnífica oportunidad para todos nosotros. Entonces, el potencial para nuestra industria es impresionante.
Y por otro lado, tú trabajaste con presidentes en México, con gobierno de los Estados Unidos. ¿Cómo ves ese acercamiento o ese distanciamiento que hay ahora, tanto con el gobierno mexicano como con el gobierno norteamericano?
Pues es un distanciamiento, vuelvo a la misma frase de nos atienden pero no nos entienden, ¿no? Y es una frase que decimos los fronterizos hacia el centro de México, pero también los fronterizos de Estados Unidos hacia Washington. La realidad fronteriza es que tenemos una estrecha relación, ¿sí? Nosotros, por ejemplo, decimos, yo tengo 2 alcaldes, parte de mi día estoy en San Diego y parte de mi día estoy en Tijuana, ¿no? O tengo 2 gobernadores, tengo el gobernador de California y el gobernador de Baja California.
La gobernadora ahora.
Exacto, gobernadora de Baja California actualmente. Pero la realidad es que, de hecho, hay convenios particulares muy específicos, aprobados por la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores, por lo que acaba de pasar con Zacatecas, ¿no? En donde esta relación tan estrecha pues nos convierte en regiones, vamos, y estas regiones trabajamos juntos. Por ejemplo, yo nada más diría en el tema específico del desarrollo económico. Ahorita estamos haciendo misiones para desarrollo económico en forma conjunta. O sea, estamos viajando al extranjero, autoridades de California y autoridades de Baja California, para traer inversiones a la región.
A ambas partes.
A ambas partes. O sea, ahorita todo lo que es la biotecnología es un gran mercado para San Diego, pero es un gran mercado para Baja California. Y entonces estamos aprovechando los dos. Antes competíamos nosotros mismos, o sea, entonces las relaciones de gobierno son muy buenas entre nosotros, vamos.
Ahora,
y lo que está pasando es, pues está pasando y pues qué bueno, pero nuestra realidad es otra, ¿no? Y entonces tratamos de educar un poco a Ciudad de México y educar a Washington, ¿no?
Y para los que están aquí, digo, muchos son bastante jóvenes, tú fuiste de los pioneros y precursores de lo que ahora es todo este movimiento gastronómico que hay en Baja California, con toda esta industria vitivinícola, gastronómica. La verdad es que no se me olvida que trabajabas con Anthony Bourdain y los restaurantes y distintos chefs. ¿Cómo ha permeado esa comunicación de los hoteles, la gastronomía, en cambiar la imagen de Baja California? Porque Baja California, pues Tijuana, y solamente hablábamos y se escuchaba de pues narcotráfico, asesinatos, secuestros, en una forma mala el tema de la maquila, y bueno, y me parece que todo el tema gastronómico ha ayudado muchísimo, ¿no?
Yo creo que tanto Tijuana como las relaciones públicas tenemos un problema. las relaciones públicas debemos hacer más relaciones para las relaciones públicas porque mucha gente no nos entiende. ¿Sí? La percepción que tienen de las relaciones públicas es errónea y debemos hacer relaciones públicas. Y Tijuana, la percepción es, híjole, vives en Tijuana, ¿no? Y Tijuana se vive muy bien, yo tengo 4 décadas viviendo en Tijuana. Y mis hijos se desarrollaron ahí y viven muy bien. Tuvimos una crisis muy seria en el 2008 y de las crisis nacen las necesidades, ¿no? Y esa crisis fue muy difícil, no salíamos a los restaurantes y demás, entonces alguien nos habló por ahí, nos dijeron, oye, ¿qué hacemos? Y nos encontramos que los restaurantes no tenían bases de datos, que los restaurantes no sabían quiénes eran sus clientes, etcétera, etcétera, y lo que empezamos a hacer fue decir, oye, pues vamos a empezar a hablarle a tus clientes. Yo me acuerdo que venía tal persona, yo me acuerdo de tal, ¿tienes el teléfono? No, pero yo creo que tal persona lo tiene. A ver, y empezamos a decirles, oye, si esto se muere la economía, voy a tener que correr gente, voy a tener que cerrar el restaurante y nos va a afectar a todos. Entonces, ¿qué tal si voy y te cocino a tu casa, como venías tú una vez cada 15 días? Te cobro lo mismo, no hay descorche porque es en tu casa, ¿no? Promovemos los vinos de Baja California, que son muy buenos, entre paréntesis, y pero me ayudas a sacar la nómina. Y lo empezamos a hacer con un chef, Javier Plasencia, que si lo googlean por ahí, bueno, él abría un restaurante que se llamaba Misión 19, hay 18 misiones entre California y Baja California, entonces esta era la Misión 19. Le hablamos a los medios nacionales y nadie nos quiso apoyar, había que comprar publicidad y no lo hicimos. Los medios locales pasó lo mismo, y entonces pues simplemente nos cruzamos la calle, lo vestí de fraile, de misionero, y nos fuimos a Los Angeles Times, y pues llamó la atención que llegara un fraile, pero que era un chef, y era el misionero que venía a hablar de su ciudad. Nos empezó a ir tan bien que de ahí tuvimos el New York Times, tuvimos el Chicago Tribune, tuvimos una serie de cosas que después nos empezaron a buscar los medios nacionales. Pero también nos acercamos a Rick Bayless, a Anthony Bourdain, a todos ellos, dijimos, oye, pues ven y conoce lo que hacemos, ¿no? La comida Bajamed, etcétera, etcétera, los vinos que tenemos de Baja California, hicimos ese maridaje para promovernos juntos y la verdad es que pues, nos fue de maravilla y yo creo que pues, el sueño dorado de todo relacionista público es, si ustedes googlean por ahí Anthony Bourdain, Tijuana o Misión 19, en un Comic Con, que es una conferencia de cómics en San Diego que es muy famosa, le preguntan a Anthony Bourdain, oye, ya que estás aquí, ¿qué lugar nos recomiendas para ir a comer?
En San Diego.
¿No? En San Diego. Entonces Anthony Bourdain dice, bueno, con todo respeto, para San Diego tienen excelentes lugares, pero yo tomaría mi auto, viajaría 30 minutos, cruzaría la frontera a México, a Tijuana, iría a Misión 19 y les volará la mente, ¿no? Es excelente. Entonces, y ese es un influencer que no te costó, vamos, ¿no? ¿Qué hemos hecho? Pues hemos aprovechado lo que tenemos, los talentos que tenemos y hemos salido a vender nuestra ciudad y lo estamos haciendo ahora tenemos un reto muy interesante con el turismo de salud, ¿no? Y pues cada vez, entonces nada más tienes que ir estudiando tus mercados y ver qué puedes hacer, ¿no? Me encantó la conferencia de Tarqui, ¿no? De las grandes ideas y por qué no, y hay que romperlas, ¿no? Y también el reto que nos ponía hace unos minutos Paul de decir, oigan,
Claro.
$50,000, pues ¿cuál es el problema, no? Adelante.
Y bueno, y antes de terminar y pasar con Ari para que nos cuente un poco más cómo van sus diseños, ¿cuál es el mejor restaurante de Baja California?
Hay muchos, pero bueno, de entrada yo les recomendaría que fueran al restaurante Caesars porque ahí se hizo la ensalada Caesars y es famosísimo en la Avenida Revolución, en los años 1920 y tantos, ¿no? Pero bueno, pues tenemos la querencia en donde tenemos un chef que es cazador, pescador y que es una maravilla todo lo que es la comida Bajamed. Por supuesto los de Javier Plasencia, ¿no? Altozano, en el Valle de Guadalupe y Misión 19 y muchos más, ¿no? Hace rato hablábamos de Deckman, ¿no? Que es americano, que estuvo un buen tiempo en Alemania, ahora está en el Valle de Guadalupe, estuvo en Los Cabos también y ahora está en el Valle. O sea, tenemos... Me estás haciendo que los invite a Baja California, que disfruten la gastronomía y la vitivinicultura que tenemos. Producimos más del 80% del vino y es una maravilla, ¿no?
Buenísimo. Jorge, pues muchísimas gracias a PRSA, muchísimas gracias a ProRP Baja California y gracias a ti por estar aquí con nosotros. Y mientras nos seguimos instalando y empezamos con todos los preparativos para los premios, Ari, cuéntanos un poco cómo van los diseños, cómo va la explicación de todo lo que ha sucedido el día de hoy.